Okay, welcome. My name is Pietro Michelucci. I direct the Human Computation Institute, which studies systems that combine humans and machines to create new capabilities to solve problems that can't be solved in other ways. And I'm very excited about being here today. If you're watching this, you probably found our Facebook page and you know something about what this is. But we created a new citizen science project to tackle SIDS research. And we didn't do this alone. We did this in partnership with the Aaron Matthews SIDS Research Guild, with Cribs for Kids, and with Microsoft's, with support from Microsoft's AI for Good program. And so this is, this project is exciting in many ways. Among other things, it's tackling a very important problem, an issue that that continues today, but we're also using this as an opportunity to see how easily we can reuse an existing platform called Stall Catchers, which is a citizen science project that tackles Alzheimer's disease. So our goal was to repurpose, adapt, and refit that platform in order to advance SIDS research. And so Stall Catchers took quite a long time to get it into a form where it was validated and actually advancing the research. And so our goal here was to try to do the same thing for SIDS, but in a much shorter amount of time, and obviously for less cost as well. So this is our first foray into this kind of extension of one project in citizen science into another. So we are launching the platform. It's now live. Whether you've pre-registered for the Dreamathon, the 24-hour event that begins now, or if you're just hearing about this for the first time, please go to dreamcatchers.app and register or sign in and give it a whirl. I should mention that that this is our beta launch. It's been we had a very ambitious goal of creating this in about 3 short months, and so right up until the last minute, the entire development team has been working around the clock to get this ready. We're pretty sure there are still a few kinks in the system, and you might encounter some of them. And if you do, please let us know. There's a live chat box where you can give us feedback, or you can also email us at info@dreamcatchers.app. I think the best way to kick this off is maybe to just go right into Dreamcatchers and show you what it looks like and how it works. So let's go do that now. So hopefully you can see my screen here. If you've ever played Stall Catchers before, this is going to look pretty familiar, except instead of looking at blood vessels in the brain of a mouse with Alzheimer's disease, you're looking at images of infants in different sleep environments. And the goal here is to help label these images as either being a safe or unsafe sleep environment. So there are several criteria about what makes an environment safe or unsafe, and you'll hear those listed in the tutorial video that pops up when you first play the game. But one of them is certainly has to do with the position of the infant. So in this image, you can see that the infant is lying on his or her back, and that's actually considered a safe position. And I'm not a SIDS researcher, but as I understand it, this was a really critical finding, I think possibly in the 90s, that infant posture was a risk factor. And And then there was a big publicity movement, a campaign to tell people that if you put your infant on their back, they'll be at much lower risk for sudden infant death. And in fact, once people started doing this, I believe the incidence of SIDS dropped by 50%. So that was a big success, but of course, any amount of sudden infant death syndrome is unacceptable, and so that's why we want to try to help advance the research further, better understand what's causing SIDS in cases when it's not related to posture, and also to use these images to help train automated systems so that they could be, you could have a video monitor watching an infant and in a sleep environment and giving you some indication of whether or not that's safe. There are lots of potential uses for this research. So this is, again, the Streamathon event is it's a 24-hour event. It will conclude tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be running a live event on the Microsoft campus from noon to 1 for the final hour. And that's going to be the Dreamathon final hour. We'll have a panel of experts. We'll have representatives from the different organizations I mentioned participating. We'll have a room full of 50 to 100 participants who will be joining for that final hour. And we're going to see how much SIDS research we can accomplish over the next 24 hours, and especially during that final push, that final hour push tomorrow. There will also be prizes. So we haven't always done this. We've occasionally given out citizen science trophies, but one of the partners I mentioned, Cribs for Kids, has donated prizes. Now, the thing about Cribs for Kids is they're a foundation whose mission it is to make sure that people have not only the information they need, but that they're equipped properly to provide safe sleep environments. So they have a lot of different products that help ensure that an infant is as safe as possible. And they're donating some of these products for this event as prizes. So I think we'll be giving out prizes for the 24-hour event. So get started now and get as many points as you can. We'll probably give those prizes to the top 6 or 7 people on the 24-hour leaderboard. So basically, scores start at 0 today because we're just launching the platform. So at the end of the event, we'll just look at the top 7 scores for the history of dream catchers, and those folks will get prizes mailed to them that will help ensure a safe sleep environment for an infant. And then we'll also be awarding prizes just on the on-site location to folks in the room who are participating. That'll be a separate competition. If you don't think you yourself would have a use for one of those prizes, you might know someone who would. Could make a great baby shower gift, for example. The Cribs for Kids folks will be on site tomorrow, actually they'll be piped in through the live stream from their headquarters, and they'll be able to tell you more about what they do, what their mission is, and what their products are. Getting back to the game itself here. So we use the word game kind of loosely. There's something that seems maybe kind of contradictory to have a topic as serious as SIDS and then to have a game about it. And of course, it's a gamified system. So in citizen science, we take an analytic task like labeling an image as safe or unsafe, and we try to make it a little more fun and interesting. We put a score on it, and you can level up. And then there's even a little bar that kind of measures your sensitivity, your ability, or your expertise in determining a safe or unsafe environment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label this image as safe because The baby's seems to be in the right position. Okay, and it says correct. This is considered safe, and I got 33 points. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. Okay, so now here there's a baby not quite sleeping yet, but we're looking at the sleep environment. Well, it looks like the chat box popped up here. So just as a brief aside, this is a public chat box, and anything you type in here will be seen by anyone else who happens to be playing Dreamcatchers. And if someone comes on to the system later, they can actually scroll up and see what you wrote. So you could, if you have a friend on Dreamcatchers, you could write something and leave a message, and they could scroll up and see it later. This comes from stall catchers, and it's used quite a lot there, and it really does help kind of bind the community. People can help each other about how to play the game. You might look at an image and have questions about it and ask someone on the chat box, hey, I'm seeing this, but I'm not really sure if this is safe or not. And in fact, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, there's a hand on the baby, and I don't know if that's safe or not, but the baby's still awake. If the baby were asleep, would that be unsafe? I don't think it's related, so I'm just going to say safe. Hey, I guessed right. And I feel like I learned something, so maybe I'll get better at this. So over here on to the right of the image is a blue bar, and we call that the sensitivity bar. And this is, again, a measure of how good I am at distinguishing between a safe or unsafe environment. And when you get started, this bar starts out very low because you have to kind of demonstrate your ability before we really know what that ability is. And over time, we do see that for people, at least in the stall catchers game, this bar grows, and that's a demonstration that they're learning. And we expect the same thing to happen here. So I'm going to click next. Okay, so this is an interesting image in the sense that there's a couple things that look not okay here. One of them is that the infant is on their side, and that's not a safe posture, as I understand it. The other thing is the bedding that they're sleeping on looks a little loose. Now, I don't know what counts as loose, but I'm hoping that as I play the game, I'll get a better sense of what's considered loose or not loose by the experts from the feedback that the game gives me. So I'm going to go ahead and click unsafe. Aha, now here, as soon as I click unsafe, I have an opportunity to say what's exactly unsafe about this. So there's a checkbox for sleep on tummy side. Yeah, I'm going to check that one. And then I said loose bedding. Okay, so now here's one for loose bedding. So I'm going to click both of those and we'll see. Almost. Okay, so it says this is considered unsafe because sleep on tummy side. So I got it partly right. And I think I got some points from that, although it doesn't say so here. I think, yeah, this is one of these kinks that we'll be working out in the next 24 to 48 hours. So yeah, when you get one that's partially correct like this, I mistakenly said that the bedding was loose, and I guess this isn't really loose enough to be considered a problem. But I would get partial credit for this, and you can see my score right now. I'm logged in as Pietro HQ. My score is 93. So when I click next, we'll see if I got points for that one. And I didn't get any points for that. Okay, so yep, this is what we call beta testing. So we'll get that fixed pretty quickly. So it should be that if you get one partially correct, that you'll get points for that, and we'll take care of that in short order. So again, please bear with us. This is for these citizen science games. We're not a professional video game developer, and I think the greatest factor in the success of the stall catchers platform has been the feedback from the community. People play the game and they'll tell us when something isn't working, or they'll tell us if they want us to change the game in some way to make it more compelling or interesting or easier for them to do what they're doing to help the research. And we really value and listen to that feedback. So here we have a situation where an infant and its mother are sleeping in the same room. So is that unsafe? Well, we can look at the criteria here. Bed sharing with adult. Okay, but I would say this is not the same bed as the adult. So it's maybe that doesn't apply. So I'm going to go ahead and say safe, and we'll see what happens. All right, and I got 160 points for this. So the points start to go up as you demonstrate your ability, and this blue bar gets higher. That means you're adding more research value, so we give you more points. The other way you can get more points is sometimes an image will be more difficult. And if it's known to be a more challenging image, then you'll get double or triple points for answering that image. So if you see a tricky one, it's worthwhile to try a little harder on that one. So that's enough of a demonstration there. So anyway, you know, this is really the culmination of a tremendous amount of work and planning, not just from my own team, but also from our strategic partners. And so I'm just grateful to everyone for coming together to make this happen. I'm really looking forward to the final hour tomorrow. I hope anyone who's watching or listening, whether you're watching live or you're watching later, that you'll log in and give it a try. And we're hoping for great things from dream catchers, just as we've seen from stall catchers, and hope that you will be part of that. So thanks for watching the live launch of Dream Catchers, and looking forward to the next 24 hours.